So the next one is The Scent of Burnt Flowers by Blitz Bazawuli. I really enjoyed this book. I really enjoyed this book. As someone that is not the biggest fan of magical realism, I really enjoyed this book. I would have liked more answers, where some areas are answered with some magical realism, which is not my favorite thing. But the story is just captivating for me. Like, I was very much enthralled in this story. It's the type of story that I have not read before. You have a couple that are on the run because of something that happens regarding a white man, and now they are on the run. The guy in this relationship, he's like, listen, I know somebody really important in Ghana, and he can give us, safety. And they go to Ghana, they go on, on this journey to Ghana, and somebody is hot on their trail. Like, it is a complete cat and mouse type of book. This guy knows how to put a story together, because I was very much into it, okay? I'm gonna put this one invalid, because I really enjoyed it, but it did have some small issues. It did. Okay, Perish by Latoya Watkins. So, y'all not gonna like this, but, it is what it is. So, Perish, let's talk about the good stuff. The good part is that it's written very well. My issue with this book was that, as far as my preference, it was just trauma upon trauma upon trauma and just terrible things. There's even a complete shock moment towards the end that was just like, what? Like, all the trigger warnings in the world that you could think of has been packed into this book. I just felt that by the end, I felt like, why the hell did I read that? Why? Like, what did I get out of that? As you can see, some of the books that I really enjoy that are OD lit, Mad Fire, they have a lot of trauma in them. So we're not even talking about the trauma part. I don't mind trauma. But what I need when there's trauma in the book, I need something that tells me you read this for this reason. Why did these people go through all this trauma? What happens in the end? Are they healed? It's like something needs to happen to make me feel like I didn't just read trauma porn, if that makes sense. Yeah. That's how I feel about it. I'm gonna put this in Isai, because the writing is really what saved this book for me and just kept me reading it. I would definitely love to read some more from this author, just not this kind of book. Anywhere You Go by Wanda M. Morris. I really enjoyed this book. I'm going to put this invalid because it's completely valid. I like this book. It's a historical fiction, but it's also a mystery thriller. If you've been following this channel, you already know about this book, because I done mentioned this book many, many times. Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope. This was a disappointment for me, if I'm honest. This was a bit of a disappointment for me. I wanted more from this book. Like, I wanted to love this book, and I felt like it was just okay. Yeah, I felt like this one was just okay for me. Like, I just didn't... At some parts, I felt bored, and I kept feeling like, I don't think I should feel bored right now, but I felt bored. Like, I was reading, and then I was just feeling, you just read it, and you're just not really feeling feeling anything, you know. Especially we have different characters in this book. There is some powers involved, you know, some paranormal type of things going on in this book. So it really should have kept my attention, but I had gotten to the point where I really had just wanted to finish. That's how I began feeling about this book. Like, I was not, I felt really disappointed when I finished. I'm gonna put this in, and I hate to do it, I'm just gonna put this in dead ass mid. Oh my god. Okay. Lone Women by Victor Laval. Y'all know I love me some Victor Laval. OD lit, of course. I love this book. I love this book so much. See, I got so much. OD lit is now making a second column because I just, yeah, I'm enjoying them. Hungry Ghost by Kevin Jarrett Hussein. Oh man, I love this book so much. Listen, Mad Fire. This book was such a surprise for me. I didn't know what to expect with this book. There is definitely some kind of magical realism also going on in this book as well. It's set in Trinidad, in a very poor town, and just so many things happen. And it's about like the haves versus the have-nots. And you know, sometimes when you just been down for so long, well, when some people have been down for so long, they are willing to do whatever to finally get on top. And they don't care who it hurts, you know. They just be tired of being on the bottom. You know, they just be sick of it. They really do. But it's so many characters in this book. So many things have happened. It's heartbreaking. It's written phenomenally. Like, this is just a good ass book. I really hope that Kevin is writing something right now, because I want to read it. Whatever he writing right now, I want to read it. Okay, so the next one we have is The House of Eve by Sadika Johnson. And I'm not going to spend much time on this one. I'm going to put this in the valid. Oh, not OD lit now. I want to put this in the valid category because, you know, it was valid. It was written well, which Sadika Johnson, you know, she knows how to write a book, right? My issues with it were, one, it triggered the absolute hell out of me, okay? And then, which is not the book's fault, but my goodness, it was triggering. And number two, I wanted a lot more out of the ending. I wanted so much more out of the ending, and I closed the book feeling a little bit disappointed. I wanted more, but everything else from the beginning up until I got triggered was good, was interesting. I liked one POV over another. We're following two women, and you know, but it was okay. I liked it, but I did not like this one as much as The Yellow Wife. There we go. Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I really like this book a lot. I'm going to also put this one in valid. And the reason why is because even though I really like this book, when I first picked it up, I DNF'd it because I was a bit bored at first. It's like when you're reading this book, it's a bit boring in the beginning. Once you get into the meat and potatoes of this book, I feel like it is like, okay, now I want to know how this ends. I'm invested. But I have to take off points for the fact that it gets a little boring at one point. You know what can I say? So valid. Long Gone, Come Home. Yeah, no. this book pissed me the hell off. It absolutely pissed me the hell off. It's not written terribly, and I would definitely read more from this author. I'm just gonna put it in dead ass mid. I just really left this book feeling like, what was the point of this? And I hate doing that. I hate closing a book and feeling like, why did I read this? I got nothing from this story. This woman in this story spends the entire book chasing after her baby father. That is what happens. She spends the whole book chasing after her baby father, and then when things finally come to a head, you think that the book is going to end, but no, it doesn't end. It continues on. And I feel like the book continues on way past the point of where it should have stopped. The Reformatory by Tananarive. I'm definitely going to put that in OD Lit. Of course, I really enjoyed that book so very much. Trinity by Zelda Lockhart. This is a book that I feel the exact same way about this book that I felt about Perish by Latoya Watkins. So much trauma. The only difference is in this one, I feel like I could see the reasons for why we got it. We did come to a point where we were beginning to understand why we were fed all of this trauma, right? But I still just wasn't a fan. I'm not going to even hold you. But the writing is very good. I can't deny when it has such good writing. You know, I'm with you when you writing good. Okay? I just need you to write something else. Just write something else good. Alright. Oh, hold on. Inside. Okay. One Blood by Deneen Milner. I really enjoyed this book. I liked it a lot. We followed 3 women, and these 3 women are all connected. And I won't say how, but they're all connected. It's a multi-generational saga. And this book should be read by many, many black women, I would say. I am going to put this in... Do I want to put it in OD Lit? Or do I want to put it in Valid? I'm going to put it in Valid for now. It's not perfect. It's definitely not a perfect book, but I very much enjoyed it. So now we have Take the Long Way Home by Rochelle Ellers. This book right here, what pissed me off about this book was absolutely how long it is. And I went into this book really thinking that I was going to be going on a journey with this black woman. She was going to be traveling the world. Now, don't get me wrong. This black woman is traveling the world. But she's traveling the world. But at the forefront of this book is her relationships with different men. That is all this book is about. And I was not aware of that. I just really was not. I mean, this book is like over 500 pages, and I didn't realize I was reading practically a romance for 500 pages. Otherwise, I would not have picked it up. You know, I don't mind a little romance inside the historical fiction, but I just wanted more for this woman. And the activism that was involved in this book, like, it just felt like it felt like it was just kind of thrown in. Like, it didn't feel like a full thing, you know. It felt like, oh, well, because she's a black woman and she's around during this time period, I need to put in the fact that, you know, she's fighting for black people. That is how it came across to me. I'm gonna put this in dead ass mid because, yeah, it ain't do it. It ain't do it. Alright, the next one is gonna be Coleman Hill by Kim Coleman Foote. I forgot what they called what this woman did, but basically this is a book. What is it called? Auto by Mythology. autobiography or something to that nature. But basically, this is a book that is based off of this author's real family. And I thought that that was so cool. There's actually pictures in this book of her family members that are fitting into the story. So it was very nice to read the story, see the pictures that kind of corresponds with what's happening in the book. I love that, right? I think that I was more, when I first read it, I think that I was more excited about the fact that this author had done something that I never seen done before. But after some time of sitting with it, I will have to say that, it's just okay. Like the story itself, like when I reflect on what actually was taking place in the story, it was just okay. Okay, so the next one is going to be The Davenports by Crystal Marquise. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one. This was a YA historical fiction. I thought that I was getting Bridgerton. Like, I really thought I was getting something along those lines, Black excellence. I was really bored. I felt like I didn't pay attention to the fact that it was young adult, and I was forgetting the fact that young adult a lot of times has that angst in it, and the characters just weren't they just weren't able to make up their mind. Like, they weren't making decisions and sticking to it. Like, they were just like all over the place, as like teenagers basically. And that annoyed the hell out of me. And then the ending, I'm assuming, of course, she made the ending that way to set up for book 2. But I was just so annoyed that I was just like, I'm done. I am done here. I will not be you will to be continued with someone else, because I'm not going to continue this story. I don't care no more. Get married, don't get married. I don't care. And then next we have American Daughters by Carlos Maurice Ruffin. And this book I really enjoyed as well. It's just, it's not perfect. It's gonna go in the valid category because it's a good book. I enjoyed it, but I wanted more of these women that were, meeting up secretly to sabotage the Confederate soldiers. That's what I wanted. And I didn't get that. Most of the first half of this book is really about a young girl who is enslaved with her mom and them trying to get free. That is the first half of this book. So being that it was called American Daughters, it just seemed a little misleading for me. And then when you get to the end, I can't even... when you get to the end, it's like, what? Chill. Okay. Midnight Rooms by Danya Coles. This is a Gothic historical fiction. And this is another one where I love the beginning of this. I really enjoyed it. I loved the Elias and Orabella in the beginning. She's broke, and he takes her away to his expensive manor. When she gets there, weird things start to happen. She is told that she can't come out the room. She has to be locked into the room. She needs an escort for when she leaves the room. Weird things are taking place in this manor, right? But again, it's another situation where it's day to day. Okay, the next day this happened, and then the next day, and more of similar things taking place over a period of time. And I began to get a bit bored, and I began to get a bit annoyed, because I was saying, like, will you tell us what the hell is going on in this book? This book is a complete fever dream. Once she gets to the manor, it's like we don't know what's really happening, what's not really happening. Is she hallucinating? What is happening? It is a complete fog, And you can only keep me in the fog but for too long before I get super annoyed and want to close the damn book. So I'm going to put this in dead ass man. I'm sorry. I feel terrible because I really wanted to love this book. Okay, An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole. This is going to go in its eye. Because I liked it when I was reading it. Not super memorable. The writing isn't anything super special. You know, it's alright. Okay, Wild, Beautiful, and Free by Sophronia Scott. This is another one where I really enjoyed the beginning of this book, and then towards the middle to the end, I just wasn't feeling it. Apparently, this is a Jane Eyre retelling. I never read Jane Eyre, but I don't know if I had read Jane Eyre, if I would feel differently about it. I highly doubt it, because I just wasn't, like, I just didn't care anymore. I cared so much about this main character from the beginning to the middle, and then after a while, I was just like, girl, okay, you like him? Oh, alright. Like, it just came out of left field for me. I just wasn't a fan with the direction that the story took. I'm gonna put it in its eye. Because, you know, it's not like there wasn't any parts of the book that I didn't like. You know, I really should put Midnight Rooms in its eye. I do feel bad about that, because I do like the beginning of this book. I feel like Dead Ass Mid is for books where I just wasn't feeling it pretty much the entire way through. The Secret Keeper of Jaipur by Alka Joshi. This is book 2 in her series, and I also enjoyed this book as well. So many secrets, so many things. OD lit, it's going in. Okay, and then now we have my girl Kristen Hanna, The Great Alone. I love this book so much. When I tell you I was crying, I mean real tears, boo-hoo crying. And I just feel like Kristen Hanna probably specializes in tears, because every time somebody mentions one of her books, they saying that they was crying. And for me, it takes a lot to make me cry. Like, but when I read this book, I was in it. Lots of trigger warnings in this book. But it's so good. Like, it's so good. We're gonna put this in OD fire. I mean, see, there's no damn such thing as OD fire. OD lit. We're gonna put this in OD lit, because it's extremely good. Okay, Wild Women in the Blues by Denny S. Bryce. I'm going to put this in valid because I like this story, but it's not perfect. This is a book that is set in the 1920s, which is one of my favorite areas to read from regarding Black people. I love the outfits, I love the language, all of the things, right? But there is a mystery type suspense element in this book that I'm not sure that I loved. You know, that's what it is. I'm not sure that I love that part of this book. Okay, Wandering Souls by Cecil Penn. I really enjoyed this book a whole lot. This is a refugee story. I'm gonna put this in OD lit. Very good. The Kitchen House. This is book 1, because we talked about Glory Over Everything before. So I'm gonna put that in valid. I got to put it in valid, because it was a good book. Okay, so the next one is going to be Sugar by Bernice McFadden. And This book is everything to me. This is one of my favorite books of all time. This is the book that got me back into reading once I had taken a very long hiatus, and I will always have a special part in my heart for this book, for Bernice McFadden, period, but absolutely for this book, for getting me back into the groove and reminding me how much I absolutely love reading and why the hell did I ever stop. Okay, it's gonna go in Mad Fire. I absolutely have to put sugar in Mad Fire. I've never once met someone that has read this book and they didn't love it. This is a book that it's amazing. It's perfect. It pulls at your heartstrings. It's messy. It's small town gossip and just all the drama your little heart can take in. You know, that's why I always recommend this book for people that are looking to get back into reading, because it's not boring. It's an exciting book. It's just, listen, it's good. It's good. It's gonna pull out the emotions, and for me, those are the books that I absolutely that are always gonna be at the top for me. Okay, and then the last book on this list is going to be book 2, which is This Bitter Earth, which I absolutely loved as well. So I'm gonna have to put that one in Mad Fire as well. Of course, they gotta sit there together. Woo. Okay, so that is around, I didn't really count, but that is around 60 books. And so let me see, do I need to make any adjustments before I set this list in stone? And I don't think so. I feel like my Mad Fire category is like, these are the books where I wouldn't change a thing. I would just not change a thing. I love everything about it. I love every page, every word, just everything about it. Granted, I would love to read Sugar and This Bitter Earth again, because I haven't read it in 17 years. I would also love to read Homegoing again. I would. And I would love to read Cane River again, because I haven't read that one in a long time. And I just feel like when you have books that you feel like are your favorites, you really should give them a reread every at least, 5 to 10 years. Just to see, if you still feel the same way, because we change up. We read more and more books. Something might have been a 5-star for you, 10 years ago, but when you read it now, you're like, nah, I read something that was similar to this and it was way better than this. So we have more to compare it to over time. So, woo, that is going to be the end of this video. I thank y'all for rocking with me this whole time. I don't know how long this video is, but I know it's been a minute. Make sure you give me a like, subscribe if you have not already. Let me know down in the comments below what you think of my decisions. And I will catch y'all next Monday for more bookish content. Bye.